Hello everyone, welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're all good and well. So finally, I am going to be doing my review of the final episode of the Amazon Wheel of Time TV series. But before I crack on with the review, I did want to acknowledge I made a mistake in my last review, which was saying that Padan Fain didn't appear in the Ways. And thank you to Tim in the comments, you were quite right. He does make a brief appearance in the Ways. So some of what I was saying there is obviously not valid anymore. I would still say I think his character needed a little bit more fleshing out in the last episode and in previous episodes to really sort of make his character have more of an impact on the series. But I do acknowledge that was a mistake on my part, so I'm sorry to you all for that. However, I'd like to now crack on with my review of this final episode. And I have to say, over Christmas, since I've been waiting to do this video, it's been hard to avoid the reactions and the YouTube channels I have about the Wheel of Time cropping up on my phone, sort of giving pretty negative reactions to this. So I kind of went into this episode with very low expectations when I watched it, towards the end of the year, towards the end of 2021. But I kind of enjoyed it. And I know I'm probably going to get hammering from some people that are passionate about the books, as am I. And I will acknowledge there were still problems here and still some issues I have with this series, which I will talk about both at the end of this, but probably expand on when I talk about the series as a whole and do some scoring of different categories and things in a separate video, which will be in follow-up to this video. But yeah, I actually enjoyed this a little more than I was expecting. And I'll talk about that a bit about that shortly. Firstly, a recap of the episode itself. We kind of had the cold open this time with Lewisterion Telamon and a character called Latra Posidicum. And this was all set in the Age of Legends, with them both speaking in the old tongue. Then we go back to Moiraine and Rand walking through the Blight and carrying on their journey. Perrin is sort of consoling Egwene. She's obviously worried about Rand and everything, and they're sort of trying to, I think, patch up a disagreement or fallout that they kind of had in that previous episode. There's a bit more romance going on between Nynaeve and Lan, and then we cut back to Rand and Moiraine again. Now, this is where I think the episode started to get quite good, and this is where I enjoyed it. So this was where having gone in with low expectations, I was starting to think, I quite like what's going on here. I liked the Ishamael character in this and the scenes with Rand. I thought they were quite tense and pretty well done. And I might be in the minority. Saying that. I appreciate a lot of people, the eye of the world, right? It may not have matched what people want. But I actually liked the Ishamael character and his interactions with Rand, and there's particularly a scene which I'll maybe come on to a little bit later on, but the first scenes is pretty good, where Rand ends up having to kill himself to get out of this kind of weird dream he's in with the Ishamael character, and I liked that, and I also think that Ishamael did seem threatening enough. I mean, he wasn't as mad as the Baalsmon character, which is kind of his other name in the Eye of the World, but was still pretty, I thought, had that, that sense of, there was that sinister element to his character, which I still think was portrayed quite well. And I thought all the scenes with him in and with Rand in were actually quite good. Contrary to a lot of other people have said, I know, and I may come in for a bit of a hammering in the comments, but I'm not that bothered. That's what I thought anyway. So we also get introduced to Sa'angreal, I think, for the first time, perhaps, an object which has the one power, which was kind of cool. We see Min having another vision. I think that scene was sort of to build a bit more suspense up into the final scenes. Again, I'm not sure any of that happens in the Eye of the World book. We get Lord Agelmar and his decision to sort of lead men out to kind of defend Tarlin's Gap. And then I think we also see, so back with the Rand and the Ishamael sequence, where it transitions and Rand is in the countryside with Egwene, with this baby, who I think is Joya from who actually appears, I think, in a vision that Egwene has when she's being tested to become accepted. And that doesn't happen until the third book. So it was interesting that Joya is picked out here to appear in this dream, that, or this kind of moment that Rand is having with Ishmael. But again, it was quite good, quite an intense scene. And what I really liked was how Rand faces off with him. I mean, again, this is different, pretty different from anything in the books, but I liked how he faced off with Ishmael, and particularly the ending, how he dealt with, how he got rid of him with that burst of light in his face, which I thought was quite cool, using his powers. So I quite enjoyed that. What I didn't enjoy were the rushed scenes with, Panem Fain killing off Loyal seemingly, and I think they take the Horn of Valyr. Perrin turns up, and there's that conversation between Perrin and Panem Fain, which is quite interesting, I guess. But I think there's some problems here, which for me, I don't think Perrin's character has been fleshed out. One of the characters in this series, I think, has lacked being fleshed out very well and having enough plots or substance to his story. And I say that I think we missed the introduction of Elias. I think that would have helped with Perrin's character being kind of, as I say, being sort of fleshed out and everything. I think that would have really helped, but that obviously didn't happen. And also here, Loyal being killed off, a lot of Loyal elements from the first book, okay, a lot of that has been missed here as well, and I wasn't keen on that choice either, to kill off Loyal. Maybe he will be brought back by an Aes Sedai, I don't know, but Loyal has lots of good, I think, dialogue in the books, and I was a bit disappointed to see him go, if that is the case, if he is killed off properly. I'm not totally sure, but so I quite liked it. Yeah, as I say, there were parts of the episode I liked, parts I didn't like, but I didn't have such a hateful reaction, I think, that some people have had to this episode. I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right. And there were, as I say, some scenes I really quite enjoyed. And so it was slightly above my expectations going in. So some differences to the books. And perhaps one of the biggest differences, which, I should mention, as I am supposedly the Green Man, right, inverted commas, was the Green Man's been completely missed out. I mean, he wasn't included here at all. And a couple of Forsaken characters, Aginor and Balthamel, were also excluded from this, seemingly. So that was a bit interesting as well, and perhaps time is part of the problem here, that Rafe Judkins doesn't have much time to work with lots of other characters and get lots of new stories all fitted into his episodes, so he's decided to take one or two things out. Some of these decisions, I can see why he's done them. Others, I think, are a bit more questionable. But yeah, I think as a whole, I still quite like this episode. I mean, it just, questionable choices. And in my wrap-up video, I will talk about the whole series and give some scores by category of things like acting, dialogue, maybe even kind of, costume and cinematography, all that sort of stuff, just to really wrap up this series properly and kind of conclude my thoughts. But that is my thoughts on the final episode of Wheel of Time, the Amazon TV series. What did you think? In the comments, please, sort of be relatively nice. You can disagree, but, be relatively nice about it. Otherwise, take care, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evenings. Bye for now.